Now I know the #1 question you guys all want answered. Is the executioner wasp the last sting? And shot looks good. We are rolling. What's going on, Coyote Pack? And welcome to an extra special episode of Howlin' with the Pack. Because as you can see, we are not on the base camp set, but instead are in the wilderness. In fact, the rainforests of Costa Rica. Right now we are filming at the Costa Rican Amphibian Research Reserve. And one of the reasons that this place is so special for the entire history of the Brave Wilderness channel is because this is where we have filmed a number of our most epic sting episodes. Specifically, the bullet ant, the warrior wasp, and as you guys just saw, the executioner wasp. So let's talk about the X-Wasp. Wow, you guys have been waiting for over a year to see this episode. We actually filmed it last August. So August of 2017 is when we lensed that episode, never knowing that it was going to turn into this phenomenon, this cry from the audience, this give us the executioner wasp. Every single video that we release, you guys eagerly write in the comments section, Coyote, when is this episode coming out? Well, the day has finally come. You guys have seen the episode, and here we are talking about the aftermath. Now, why did we make you guys wait so long? Why was this painstaking process necessary for us to see this video? To be honest, guys, it's because we wanted me to be stung by the Japanese giant hornet first, right? I knew if we didn't get me stung by that hornet, everybody would have said, but you didn't get stung by the giant hornet. How do you know that's not more painful than the X-Wasp? So we had to wait for the right season to travel to Japan, which was in September, to find those hornets when they're most active, and then to be able to catch one, film it, and get that episode out before we got to the X-Wasp. So you may be saying to yourself, well, what if the hornet was in fact worse than the X-Wasp? Well, we would have just flipped them and you would have seen the X-Wasp first and then the hornet. But truth be told, the executioner wasp, in my opinion, is officially the most painful sting in the insect kingdom. Now, that's up against the bullet ant, the tarantula hawk, the cow killer, and of course the giant hornet. So let's talk about that actual sting, right? First, let's start the hornet. So the hornet gave me an incredible amount of swelling, right? The X-Wasp was a bit different. I experienced about the same amount of swelling as I did with the bullet ant. However, the venom of the executioner wasp has some necrotic components. And several days after I took the sting, even after the swelling went down, a small hole began to cook, rot, form in my arm. I could actually look down into my skin and would say to myself, this is crazy. No sting has ever put a hole into my body before. So what makes the executioner wasp the true king of sting? A couple of different aspects, right? So the sting itself is incredibly painful. The swelling is noticeable. The pain, in fact, lasted for about 36 hours, but it was the true aftermath, the cooking of that hole into my arm, that I feel really made it the worst. Couple that together with the idea that wasps are capable of swarming you. So let's compare it to the giant hornet and of course the bullet ant. And when it comes to ants, you can walk or run away from a swarm of ants. Hornets, you can't escape a swarm. However, those hornets are slower moving. So while you may get stung many times and it could potentially be lethal, your odds of being able to get away from those insects is slightly greater than that of a wasp. Wasps are incredibly speedy insects. So if you disturb a nest, if you provoke these insects to attack and sting you, your odds of getting away are pretty much slim to none, unless you can get yourself inside of a building or a vehicle. I don't know, maybe jump into a pond, but they will chase, they will follow, and eventually they will catch you. So the intimidation factor behind the executioner wasp for us was a very important characteristic in defining it as the true king of sting. Now you may be saying to yourselves, okay, we're seeing these clips here of you putting on Sting Kill. It doesn't seem to relieve the pain. It's agonizing, and certainly the moments that I went through on set were some of the most painful I've ever experienced. I can recall back to being stung by the bullet ant, certainly the hornet, but the X-Wasp just put me into this state of near paralysis as I was rolling around on the ground in pain. Just in agony, punching my fist down into the mud. It was unbearable for the most part. I would put that sting up there close to the bite of the giant desert centipede. And remember, bites and stings are two very different things. So to say that a sting is similar to a bite in pain, that is pretty extreme. Now I know the number one question you guys all want answered, and what's probably the title of this video, is the executioner wasp the last sting? I have to be honest with you guys. It is time for us to move on to something different. When it comes to intentional stings, I love the fact that we've gotten you guys excited about these insects. We've all garnered an immense amount of education learning how these venoms affect the human body. And is there something out there with a more painful sting than the executioner wasp? Maybe, probably. Are we going to search after it? Not likely. If we stumble upon it at some point, we may observe it from a safe distance. If I'm accidentally stung by something, you better believe we're going to tell you about it. But when it comes to catching a bug, placing it on my forearm, and intentionally taking a sting, yes, the executioner wasp is now the king of sting, and that is in fact the last intentional sting Coyote Peterson's gonna take. Now I know these episodes have certainly helped a lot of you stay brave in the face of taking stings yourself. And when I say stings, I mean accidental stings, guys. Do not ever go out and provoke a wasp, a hornet, or a bee nest, right? These animals have the potential to be lethal, and if you provoke them, that's when you get stung. So always admire these animals from a safe distance, but if you were accidentally stung, remember our motto, be brave. Tough out the pain, make sure that your body's reacting properly to the venom. If you're a kid, say to your parents that I've been stung. If you're an adult, let a friend know, because anaphylactic shock is a very real thing. I know people who, if they are stung by a single honeybee or a single hornet, can go into anaphylactic shock. Some of you watching probably even carry epinephrine pens with you. So remember guys, safety first in all instances, be brave in the face of pain, and always admire these animals from a safe distance. However, if you have been stung, tell us about it in the comments section below, and certainly share your thoughts with us as to how much you have learned from me climbing up the insect sting pain index. I'm Coyote Peterson, be brave, stay wild. We'll see you on the next base camp adventure. All right, that's a cut. If you missed the painfully entertaining conclusion to my climb up the insect sting pain index, make sure to go back and watch Stung by an Executioner Wasp. And don't forget, subscribe and click the notification bell so you can join me and the crew on our next wild adventure.